Good evening, citizens, and welcome to another episode of the Shattersong LARP Diaries. I am your host, Chris, and I am joined by my erstwhile companions, Matty and Sol, once more. Say hello, guys.
Oh, we're erstwhile
Hello,
now.
guys.
Like that.
I hate you both. There's indignation from Matty, and then there's shit posting from Sol.
No, I'm
Right.
impressed. I like being erstwhile. I
Well,
feel like erstwhile Shattersong makes a great name.
That is a good one. Shame there's not going to be any more.
short episode, genocide, and we're
Yeah.
on. Yeah.
I think this more like, as this is your project, Chris. Really, I think Matty and I are the little people on your shoulders whispering into your ear.
Yes.
But
Although
neither of us are angel or devil.
I was also going to say though,
both
but
bad.
if this is the Shattersong Diaries, you as the only remaining living Shattersong technically have both Chris and I on either of your shoulders.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, well, that's true.
You
Yeah.
also get the login details for the podcast.
Wow.
Yeah. Once the Shattersongs are dead, the thing just ends.
So
There's
anything
no more.
weird appearing, that's my fault.
Yeah.
Um,
Sure. Yeah.
Well, no. Once all Shattersongs are dead, then the dead Shattersong Diary seems to have done the job.
Yeah.
We've self-fulfilled the prophecy.
Indeed.
Now watch Faren last for the rest of the Empire LARP game.
He still was already the longest living. Just
This is true.
counter to the others.
Weird
anyway.
flex,
This
but
is-
okay.
Although, until Larkin died, they were the same like living of being Shattersongs.
Yeah,
Actually,
yes,
were you a Shattersong from the first event, or did you come in the second of being a Shattersong?
I think you two were first recruits. It was you two, Tiki and Ross.
Excuse me, first recruits.
founder.
Band Shattersong was the original Shattersong.
No, you
Yes.
and I came up with that name, sir.
Yeah. Were you in the striding? Was it on the wiki?
Yeah,
I need
I
evidence.
wrote the striding on the wiki. Fuck
I
you,
need fucking
man.
evidence.
The post-death retconning, the fog. The
Mm.
fog. We'll blame the fog.
Yeah, what was it? I
Um,
forgot about the fog. Like, funny
I think
that.
yeah, I think we brought Faren and Ross's character in the.
It was the same event. You did it all in one event
slightly
very
after.
efficiently.
Very possibly, yeah.
But I don't think I said yes
time
until the
ago now.
end. Not to the end.
You
till,
were-
like
Playing the field.
the Saturday. Well, it's because I had like 5 offers that weekend.
Yeah, that's fair.
And that's after saying no to Ashbourne like 2 events prior. So
All right,
sorry,
chill
sorry,
out.
Ashbourne.
Yikes. Oof.
No, that's good. That's good. There's one thing that we have over the Ashbourne. It's
What is
Faren.
our casualty rate?
Farron, that's it. The Ashbourne are
Just-
great in
just Farron.
but everything else.
Everything else they win, but we have Faren, so
Mm.
it's like trying to like get joint custody of the child.
I was thinking more of
We
poor
won,
Ragnarok,
Faren.
but you're right. It is custody. This is a custody battle with Ashbourne. All right, so
Well,
hello,
you've
citizens.
all-
Welcome
you've
to.
all lost, 'cause I'm-
Shut up.
Welcome
I'm the
to
foster child of the
Shattersong-
Brass Coast.
Stop. Right,
Oh my
we need
God.
to get this train back on the tracks and start talking about E2
Mm.
Friday. And we're not going to do much else than talk about Farron's Friday because Farron's basically had a whole event in 6 hours, correct?
7,
Yeah, I guess so. Something like that.
That's
Yeah.
what we counted it as.
That's what
I think
we
that's
said.
what you told me after the 5th hour, and then told me again after time
Yeah.
out. So
I think the comment
What?
Saturday morning was, Sol, you look like you're just trying to process an entire event. And I went, yeah, because it kind
Yeah.
of did happen. It was
it was a
wild.
lot. Friday was a lot.
So
I
first-
remember it getting to the end of Friday, and you and I were talking, and we were like, "I can't believe we've still got a whole Saturday."
Yeah, it was. This event was just insane. After coming off an E1, which was great. Like, I
Mhm.
think we all came away from E1
Very
going,
solid.
that was a good event. That was a solidly
Well-
good event. Shut up, Larkin.
It was a great.
Who?
Sorry, you're
Sorry,
right. It was a great event, wasn't it?
It was a great event.
Yeah. God, that was cathartic.
Ouch. Yeah, no, I know what
Yeah.
you mean though. That was kind of, it was a really good but really expected event. Like it followed the beats
Now,
you expected it to follow,
citizens-
and then
oh.
E2.
A week before, this was looking like a quiet event. Before any of the for any of the wins, this was looking a quiet event. Not only because there wasn't much going on the wins, etc. But also Black Scar were looking maybe down on some numbers. It actually didn't feel like that in the end, but we were down on some bigger players. There were quite a few tents missing, and I think it did have an effect. But overall, Black Scar still solid as usual.
They weren't
And
there
I
to
was
hold us
looking
back.
forward to a quiet event because we've had some stressful ones. It was going to be nice time to kind of sit and reflect. Nah, fuck you, Soul. Slap. First of all, the first slap across the cheek with the wet fish was the time in skirmish, and then the second one was everything else that fucking happened. My God. That's Friday.
True.
That's Friday. Done.
When
Next.
did we hear about the time in skirmish? Was it about a week before?
It was a week.
It wasn't
prior.
long before. Yeah.
Week and a half. It was a Wednesday. I was off to run some Dungeons and Dragons, and my God, my evening was immeasurably ruined when I found out that the rest of my Black Scar chums would be and Linda. Linda was with me. The rest of them were on...
Oh my God, I'm muting Sol for the rest of the podcast now.
The rest of the Black Scar chums were on the other side of enemy lines, stuck in Liathaven. Lindir, Faren, and the rest of the Black Scar rabble had to pull themselves together to go through that gate and get them home.
Yeah, so we found out that there was an opportunity if you had been on the Liathaven spy network in downtime, or if you had a resource in Liathaven, which it sort of accounts for most of Black Scar at this point, that you could choose to email in and start on the other side of the Sentinel Gate and have what turned out to be 10 minutes of a solo little skirmish with that group before the rest of the conjunction would begin and people could time in from this side, the Anvil side of the Sentinel Gate. And I think everyone was kind of looking around going, it's like 90% Black Scar on the spy network. So basically it was just a matter of who's going to choose to be in there, you know?
And also... So 90% Black Scar, but also some random marcher, Johnny Fisher.
Yeah.
Maddock, who isn't part of Black Scar, is now. We'll get to that.
We got him.
Wasn't part of Black Scar at the time, but good friend of us. And some random person called like Isa or something. I don't know. I just need like a letter from them. But looking at it, I was like,
great, okay?
I was like the fifth
person
this was going to get sent to, which is bullshit for a start. I don't know. They were saying that they knew Larkin and people. I don't know. Felt a bit bullshit.
That's a red flag, isn't it, in a letter?
Yeah,
it is. It's always
the only response they got, because I was way too tired and couldn't be asked to organise it before the event. I sent them a letter that just said "New Quill, who dis."
Yeah, it didn't hurt at all. But no, but there was some people we were concerned about because there was one of our egregores was on the spy network. In the end, that egregore wasn't able to make the event, so we'll never know whether or not they would have decided to time in with us or not.
Egregore,
but there was a lot.
Big boss.
And then there were some people that also signed up on the Friday to just join in because why not?
On the hostile side of the gate, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought
yes,
we had slightly salty. We had a lot of pushers in that queue, despite us having the blessing of the skirmish organisers going first with our contingent.
Bernard Dugdale, Imperial Spymaster, protagonist of the Empire. The Empire's protagonist, definitely not Whitecap.
Yeah. There was about 15 people got in front of us. Somehow it was ludicrous. But sorry, I digress. Are we officially starting at 6 o'clock now?
Well, we kind of. I mean, so we had to be down at the gate at 5:30, which was already kind of mad. I mean, you did the normal getting ready and doing your weapon practice and all that combat practice, and then we would just kind of have to leg it. It was kind of crazy.
Black Scar combat training happened again. Thank you, Blythe, Henry, for keeping that up. It's honestly doing great. We were joined by one of the Blackleaf lot. Was it Elwyn Lawrence?
Yes.
He joined in for some practice as well, which will come up again, I'm sure, later on. But yeah, that was really good. It's always really good to warm up. Yeah, I feel a lot more confident once we've done that.
I mean, that was it. It was good fun. We actually were in the field at about 5:45.
Yeah.
They walked
We were
us
down
out
at
to
the
where we need
gate
to be.
about 5:45 in
Yeah.
in gear,
Now, this really
lining up.
confused us because we could hear shouting and singing, and we were like, it's not time in yet. So is that the orcs that are hunting us, or is that people on the Sentinel Gate? We genuinely couldn't tell, and it was actually making us panic more, which was good. It kind of added to the feeling, because of course the ref was like, we can't tell you what sounds do and don't come from that because we don't know either. Sorry. Like, shit.
Even the refs are afraid, like something's
The
wrong
refs
with
are like, oh man, no, it was so cool. So from our side, we were led really deep into the back of the forest, the wooded part of the skirmish field. And then we were given our briefing, which kind of shook us all a bit, because we'd gone into this going like, right, okay, we know we have to survive until you guys get through. And then the first sentence of the briefing was, you are lost in Liathaven and you do not know that anyone is coming for you. And we were like, well, that rather changes our plans. Now suddenly we don't know anyone's coming for us. So we've got to, RP that we don't know anyone's coming from us and not like metagame it, which we did in the end, which was very good. I think it worked out better that way. But we were allowed a little bit of planning time because we were like, we technically will have just met at 6, but also that's when the Jotun are going to start moving at 6. So we're saying, can we have like 5 minutes of sort of semi-IC time just to make some discussions? Because we would have had those conversations. And they were like, yeah, that's fine. So we made a little plan, talked about which directions we were going to move. We talked IC. We made pairs that we were going to try and stick to, and then we started crawling through like the grass. There's a couple of pictures. It's amazing. It was right at the beginning of the event, so none of it had been trampled down at all. It was really high. I got so many stinging nettle stings. It was worth it. And yeah, we just had to survive. It really didn't take what felt like very long before there was a Jotun that had spotted us, and then we just legged it. And it was genuinely quite terrifying, but in a really cool and thematic way. Like, it was beautiful sunshine, lovely weather, and we were being hunted for our lives. Awesome. We managed to go all the way, like, yeah?
Who was being hunted? Who are you?
Who am I?
Yeah.
Oh,
why are you here on this podcast?
hi.
Why are you here on this one? Why are you giving us this information?
So, hello, my name is Isa, and I'm new to Black Scar now, officially. I haven't been blooded in, but I'm like,
you're almost an instant, and that is not due to you being part of the
No,
OC
yeah.
group. You just gelled so well.
Really honestly, quickly. I was really pleased. So this time in skirmish, a sort of slight Matty aside, was a really good way for me to kind of like in with the group without feeling like I was sort of.
Oh my god! For a narrative opening to your time on Anvil, being saved by a group of Anvil heroes is pretty good.
It was amazing. It was. I also meant that I spent the rest of the weekend RPing that I had nothing on me because I'd just been like dragged out of Liathaven without any of my stuff. So I was like, sorry, I've got no money. Sorry, I've got none of this. And that was quite nice. But no, oh my god, it was awesome. There was a whole bunch of Black Scar who I got to introduce myself to, and then deliberately not like get involved in the planning and all that. We found some really cool areas down the back. A ditch that we literally had to jump into and walk, like run single file along. And then we found this little spot that we managed to hole up in and like you just use the terrain against them until I think Lothy at one point just went, "That's Imperials! Black Scar!" And I was like, what? It genuinely gave me such a weird, shaky feeling of relief. It was awesome. And then we heard you guys like storm in.
So should we quickly cut back to the gate side?
Smash cut.
Yeah.
Smash cut. So, Faren being like the longest member in Black Scar on the other side of the gate took up charge. We didn't have any Riz, we didn't have any Tadpole, we didn't have any big boss. So
and Lothy, yeah.
Faren literally felt like this is the time to shine. This is all your training. This is what it's for. It's this one. We're gonna do it. To be fair, we had more people than I anticipated, which was even better. We had all the Black Scar lot who were there. The Lomas showed up just in time.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of the Fayed showed up just in time.
Nice.
And then also, just kind of prior to this, a bunch of people were obviously interested in coming to help, and we were worried about numbers because 70 people at 10 minutes past 6, trying to organise that in 10 minutes, bit ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, but
And
there was enough letters and stuff being passed around, enough kind of small conversations that we knew we were going to have the numbers. It just depended on who.
I guess most people kind of cared. Like, it was people that cared about, there are some Navarre that we know, like PCs, who are on the other side of that gate that we need to rescue.
And a marcher.
So you got some marchers. Yeah, he was great. Jonathan Thrasher. Shout out to that one marcher.
Dugdale had been bigging this up. So Johnny had been really bigging this up the entire thing. He wanted this to go really well, or at least really well from an RP perspective. So I think the pitch was, this is going to be an action movie, you know? Make it as much of an action movie as you can.
What a way to open
the quote event. Was, bring them home. That was all we were about. Bring them home. And obviously try and kill the general. But bring them home. For family. No.
Family.
But yeah, it was really cool. Black Scar were a beautiful bunch.
I mean, it was
great being
route.
up there at the front. We were requested. Well, we were on there. Let's face it, half of us were on the other side. We're bringing them home. That was our whole deal. We had like the Waystone Path lot turn up to help us. A bunch of other Navarre, some of the Ember cast. There was a Marcher block led by the second, which is can't remember IC, but Harry Knight was the second on this one.
Hugh something. Hugh Titmus? No, Hugh something.
No.
IC, he's called Hugh.
He's IC, he's called Hugh. Hugh Titmus is another guy.
It's another guy who's OC,
on
right?
Facebook.
There's a Hugh something. I know he's called Hugh.
Yes.
So there was a couple of Hughs knocking around.
There were a couple of Hughs knocking around. But yeah, it felt good. There was a lot of nerves, a lot of things going into this. But we were basically at the front, other than a few that had moved in.
Yeah.
There were some of the pushers. They're not pushers at all. There were 3 Dornish who were tagged on to us to work with us, which I'd already okayed. Those 3 were epic. I think they mentioned us on the Navarre Facebook. I can't remember their IC names at all. I believe one was a Durandal, and the others were Resistance. We had some great RP, even though I was naff with names. Let's blame it on the heat and hay fever of the weekend. But he was coming in with, like, I don't know, 1,000,001 shatters is how he pitched it.
Amazing.
So
that's what you want.
He was our spearhead to then burst in from behind. It was me at the front.
And no one really knew how many we'd be facing, right? Like, that was half.
Yeah, we had no idea.
Problem.
Yeah. We were concerned this was the prime opportunity for a Black Scar TPK, because if it went wrong, because splitting force gets one half kills
survived
usually.
the 10 minutes. Yeah, I mean, I think I said this to you guys before, but if we hadn't found the location that we did that was so defensible, and if we had been, I mean, if they'd come at us in any kind of big number, because they did scatter out a bit, then we would have all been dead. 100%. 100%. Before we found the ditch and stuff, we would have been dead. So thank goodness.
we were worried that would be the case. We were worried that there were going to be numbers beyond our means, that it would literally be like smash a hole, get you, smash back. And that was all that I was planning on doing. Didn't really care about anything else. I was getting you lot home. Linda, you were with me at the front. Were you in heavy for this?
It's a medium. I don't rock heavy
You're
anymore.
In your medium
I'm
stuff.
too heroic for heavy.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, I love getting. Getting clean.
You weren't running around with your bow on this one.
No, it was spear. It was spear this time. Felt very Navarre. There's hopefully a good shot to come out from one of the photographers of once we basically as we blitzed in the gates. I think that the TLDR of the number of orcs it felt quite low. But I'm not sure how many
we had dealt with
the advanced
quite a lot
party
of them.
Killed. Yeah, exactly.
More than we expected to, certainly.
Yeah, I think you guys did some real work, because it might have been a 1-to-1 ratio, but thanks to the advanced party clogging them up and blocking the ditches with orc corpses, when the Imperials came in to save the day had kind of been saved already, and then we just mopped up. and it was
We did.
brutal and savage. It was.
We did some shouts.
I want to say we definitely got over 10 in our section. So
That's
even if
pretty
there
good.
had been like, I think we were expecting there not to be an equal number to you guys. We're probably expecting somewhere between like maybe 30 to 40.
Yep.
So it was, just clean up crew for you guys.
Yeah.
We went in to the shouts of Black Scar through the gate. Let's go, pumped up, ready. There's a good photo of Linda and I heading
Screaming.
in.
Oh, yeah.
First
Some
gate open,
great
screaming.
pictures.
We're ready. Because I was just pumped up. I was nervous, but also I was like, this is what defines the weekend. How this goes defines the weekend.
Yeah.
And my God, we get in there, straight through the woods. You're obviously in your nice little quiet glade defensible position on the other side. We can't see you. We can't even hear you, really, at this point. All we can
really
see
shouting or
is
anything.
the fort, TM, on the left. The same one that we battered ourselves against.
Oh,
event
T1,
before.
yeah.
With a bunch of orcs in it. Linda, you started skirting off to the right with a bunch of the Ember cast, saying, Faren, let's go this way. I was like, no, I see orc, we're going orc.
Center,
Black Scar on me.
Orc.
Charge. And I basically ran us up really quickly to the second gate of the two on that fort. Just went, Linda was going, Faren, are you sure? And I was like, yes, I am sure.
Yeah, we were. I was like,
Black
Faren,
Scar,
we're not grouped up.
Yeah. And well, it wasn't Bangarang, it was for Larkin. But in we go, smash it. Ferret immediately runs past me. I just see him just taking, I don't know, 3 Jotun orcs, but also dealing it back. It was just absolute carnage, burst through. I then pulled us back really quickly as we basically opened that gate with the shatters and whatnot, let all of the rest of the rabble in from behind, because at that point we heard the shouts and we heard the cries, and then over there we saw, to our right, we saw Justin and Kit, Drax and
Dax and
I can't remember.
Justin's new
Thorn.
character currently.
Justin's new character. Can't remember.
That member of the
Embercast.
2 feet striding, right?
No, he's an Embercast now.
Embercast.
I can't even get that right now. Gosh, it's hard.
But yeah, basically the ones that had gone all the way around to the right had backed off and managed to find them. So at that point, I pulled us all back. We yelled, charged in, and it was beautiful to see you lot.
Oh, it was so good.
It was so beautiful.
It was awesome. Like, it was just such pure joy of like, we are saved.
Mm-hmm.
And what a feeling. And it was,
oh my God,
after that point, it was very easy. Yeah. And I got to be like, oh, it was weird because then everyone was celebrating and then Black Scar run to Black Scar. And I was like, I don't know these people. I can't just run up to them. But then Dax, Kitsy character Dax, came through with an Isa. And I was like, oh, hey, that's me. I do know people. Awesome. And it was very, very cool. It was easy. And I want to say, I think it probably felt easier because we were expecting it to be so hard.
Yeah.
You know? So, like, we'd set our expectations, like, really on the, okay, this is going to be impossible. So when it was, for the various reasons that we managed to kind of get through it in a good way, by being competent and getting lucky.
Prepared,
and
executable.
A smattering of luck of us surviving, then after that point it felt easier, but that was, I think, just not a bad thing, to be honest.
The rejoining was great,
really
and
good
then
way to start.
We basically hammered into the back of the fort and just cleared up, and it was
Loot and scoop, got some good looting in. I think there's a photo of me actually.
Clean up time.
It's like a pile of Jotun just checking all their pockets. Unfortunately, nothing worthwhile stealing.
No, they're only Jotun, aren't they?
I know.
No, it was fantastic. It was really nice, and that was my really good introduction to all of Black Scar as well. So I see had a really good reason and like excuse to talk to everyone, and get adopted in, which was lovely. Which I think actually worked much better. Like, until that point, I had been planning like, okay, well, I know this person, so I can come looking for this person. But I liked this way a lot better, so that was good.
And so yeah, we did it. Cleaned up. Out we go.
At this point,
Victory.
it is 20 past 6.
That was it.
Past 6.
This episode is longer than this skirmish.
Yeah, and I'd already started to lose my voice after that, but I think it was worth it.
Yeah. Oh, I tried battle maging, which I didn't love straight away. It didn't grip me. So it was actually really good, I think, to have practiced it on that skirmish and not like on a main battle when I had no way of swapping out. So I was very pleased for that because I was already like, I don't think it's for me particularly. But I've tried it. I've somehow survived. Couldn't believe it. I was wearing like mage armor and nothing else.
Gets
clothes,
cute.
but yeah, I was like, this is going to be poor. There are three of us that weren't in armor, I think. And it was, still managed to survive. Managed to run really fast. But that was that, and then we were out on the field, and it just kind of began. I think it was standing next, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was
the calm down, the thanking everyone for turning up. Bernie got shouted at.
We might have been executing the Odin, but hey ho.
There's more and more, without going into too much detail, there's more and more of an appetite for why don't we just execute the Odin in other nations now? And it's delicious, and it impacts some decisions that we'll probably talk about when it comes to Sunday.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited.
It was really
it was good. It was a really nice way to start things.
And everyone was safe, and it had all gone really well, and it was just, there we go. Set up for the weekend. Anything else that happens this weekend is just good, job done. Tick off. So,
I mean, it got me an invite to the Merc banner.
That's true.
Which I genuinely wasn't expecting. I mean, I kind of had expected to fight with you, but I wasn't expecting Lothy, IC, to walk up and say, Isaac, you were with us in Liathaven today. We want to offer, do you want to join our Merc matter? And I was like, yeah, that sounds great. And then afterwards I was like, I had no plan, like OC, for how I was going to join. I think it just would have happened at some point. But it was just a nice touch, and I really liked that.
So it was standing, right? That's where we got.
I think by the time I walked in, I think Anwin was leading it, and then blah blah blah. Oh, and hopefully those thorns return from the skirmish. At which point I trip up on a twig and stagger into just towards the edge. Say yes, everything's fine, and like everyone else seems like they're just timed in. Basically, just timed in at this point. The event had not even the event has basically not started, and we've already fitted in so much RP and fear.
Yeah, so much fear.
Normally you like time in around camp and then dawdle over for standing, right? So you're not in it yet. Whereas we've been to Liathaven and back.
We had indeed.
Does that take us to the Metal Club?
Yeah, I was about to say my introduction of standing
I'm wondering what this is.
Justin's character, again, forgetting the name, coming over to me and going, "You're the last Shattersong, right?" And I went, "Yep." And you're happy to do this, are you? As he's holding this, actually, it's a wooden handle with an actual like metal prong.
It's a cattle
branding. It's a cattle prong. It's a cattle branding stick, basically.
Yeah.
And I was like, I did know about this. And
that was a heads up.
They'd given me a heads up, and I was like, I'm happy to hold this, and I held it, and I went, Jesus Christ, it's actually metal. Oh my god,
it's quite heavy.
It's quite heavy. So I was like, okay, and then he was like, right, you go over the other side, I'll come in from this side, and it'll be beautiful. Okay. So I went round and went to find Linda. Hi, Linda. And that's when you just saw me with this thing.
It's like, Faren, nice club. Can I hold it? Also realize it's metal, and I'm like, this is not a club. This is a brand.
That's not a club.
So this was intended for Talis Ashbourne after the
boo hiss.
After the little mistake that he admitted to on the previous battle, basically calling that the gate was closing and perhaps being one of the voices that caused the mass rout that also maybe particularly might have caused the death of Larkin Shattersong as well. Hence, it was approached, or I was approached, basically saying, "Look, I see you as one with almost." I think he said the most to lose, which I think is an insult to all of the other Thorns that died during that. But we'll take it. Larkin was the most, and we lost her.
Yeah. It turns out people really quite like Larkin.
Yeah.
So
I agreed to it. Sol was hella up for this. Faren
and so was Ian, who plays Talus. He'd already
yeah.
agreed to freezing brands and stuff at the end of last event.
Yeah, was really up for it too.
This is not an OC clubbing that we delivered
No.
to. This is all.
We did not brand a player.
The really beautiful thing is on top of like the poetry of it's a Shattersong doing it. Talus and Faren have a long history, and there's a lot more happening in this circle than was necessarily on the surface, which was really, really nice.
Yeah, gosh.
But yeah,
so this is straight after standing? No, this is during
standing. We actually go into the standing circle. They're talking, they're preparing the freezing brand. The Thorns also want to give him an actual brand because it was 2 brands. There was one that was a freezing brand, and then another which was just we're burning his face.
Yeah.
Oh my god, what?
Yeah.
Yeah. On behalf of the Thorns.
Yeah. And Talus's chums kind of came into the center to.
Yeah, the Navachas stepped up.
Yeah.
What I loved about this, and I think Chris, if you want to talk through it, because you pointed it out to me.
So, Kjartan Mark 8 steps in, alongside Faren and a couple of others, and they're like, "Yeah, haha, we've got you now, Talus Ashbourne." And then the heroes of the Empire, the Navachas, and they like step in, and they all rally around Talus with swords drawn, and it's very spicy because it looks like it's about to kick off. Except for Faren Shattersong, who is, let's say in football terms, not marked.
Not marked
as a player.
Everyone just kind of gave me a little
gave you a
round.
Yeah, because Faren had a metal club. A direct line to Talus the entire time, and there was a lot of very intense RP, and it's very cool to watch. And not one of them was willing to step forwards and take Faren. So I was sat there with a couple of the other Black Scar, let's say goons, Stee and Spider, and we were just sat there like, okay, if someone goes for Faren, we go for them. Simple. But no one did.
And
no one dared.
No one
dared.
I was still in like full chain war makeup from the fight before. I don't think anyone was gonna get
full metal club. It was cracking me up a little bit, OC. I was like, no one's gonna fuck with him because he has a mace. He has a mace.
What I actually loved about this bit was it didn't happen, but it was almost like that perfect little set piece that you find within a LARP. It's almost like it's the semi. Everyone's role playing, but everyone's playing their part. If you know what I mean, like it's not fully authentic, but it's also not authentic. So it's that
it's been sort of like planned, but
theatrics, right?
It was very fluid.
So for anyone who like hadn't been part of the planning or had any idea what going on, it was great to watch. Yeah. And anyone new to Anvil must have been like, "Whoa, like that's something to talk about."
Yeah.
That kind of thing makes you feel like you're stepping into a world that has history that's impacting like the present all the time.
Yeah.
And it's not just right, here's our fresh new event, let's get going.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no, stuff happened last time and it's still happening.
Yeah. The long and short of it was that it was, Kjartan Mark 72.
We love you, Justin.
I'm
pretty sure he listens to this as well.
We love you, Justin, so much. I just cannot remember your
Shattersong
name.
Shade podcast.
After Vic, no, that was Helak, but I think Helak also died.
Yeah. Heroes die. We need to get over it.
Hakan! Isn't it Hakan or Hakon?
I remember Hakon. I think Hakon's
an old one. That was the changeling, I think.
There was a Naga at some point as well.
I know Vic died because Vic died in Tharunin at our player event.
in a rather quiet glade.
Yeah.
Rather quiet glade. But yeah, it basically ended up with them going, leave him alone. It's not for now. It's done. We dealt with this last time. And then it was like, we'll take it to Thorn's Council then.
Yeah, Faren with the club is going, it's not over.
Everyone moves. Yeah, I think that I remember people shouting, going like, because someone was saying it's for the Thorns. The Thorn, like it's not been dealt with. The Thorns want more, or they want what they need. I think someone said, well, then it's for Thorn's Council, and you correctly stepped back, and it was a really nice, like, ooh, now I'm going to Thorn's Council.
Yeah, this is gonna be fun.
I'm pretty sure you came up to me, I see, just before all this happened, and went, "Hi, I'm Faren, blah blah blah." Like, and I was like, "Oh yeah, no, I've heard of you." And you're like, "Okay, well, I hope what is about to happen doesn't change your opinion of me." And I was like, Sol, what's about to happen? Like, I don't know. I'm seeing what's happening. Like, oh. And then all this happened. It was awesome. Yeah. And then some stuff happened in Standing, but then it was Thorn's Council, right? I guess it's probably not much.
And then we got him. Throw him down to his knees.
We got him.
Cornered him.
The ritual is taking place. Cannot remember the name of the coven. Anyone got it?
Is it the Winterbuilt one?
I think it's
They've got a different name, but it's the Morwenna's coven.
Yeah,
I can get it.
Did the freezing brand? They had like animal masks on.
Oh yeah, the mask was really good.
Really good. It was really well done. To give him the freezing brand, and I wasn't sure that we were giving him 2 brands either at this point. I thought it was perhaps part of the ritual. No, straight after that, it was right. And now for the thorns, and then I went, oh, it is me. So we kept Talis held down for a bit longer. He just received the freezing brand. We plant the metal brand on his face gently, obviously. And I noticed there was a button on this, and I hadn't been told to press it, but I pressed it. And it lit up red at the end.
Really?
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it lit up red.
Oh my god.
Thank god it wasn't like tension loaded and just extended like an alien tongue.
I'd figured that's what it did.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, it lit up red as if it was hot and branding. That was really cool. But yeah, it was the stepping forward to deal with this. I don't think many people saw it, but this was the first tear in the eye for Faren of this evening.
The beginning.
The beginning of the feels.
The beginning of the feels. Because
it was a feels full day. Oh well, there was one thing that happened at Standing before Thorn's Council.
Oh yeah.
Which was a certain General Brackensong walked into the center of the Standing circle,
looking
a bit grim, and
really fucking cool.
Someone,
props to the art and the makeup.
Yeah, Mim and Em, who did all the makeup, have hopefully, I mean, they never can be, but been appropriately congratulated for their work. But it was awesome. And then someone stepped in, I think it was Loma, stepped in to do a swift heal, and nothing happened. And he just kind of was like, mm-hmm. And I think there was some comment about the barons and how it's, taken the life of da-da-da and at least one general. And everyone was like, wait a second. Wait, what? And I'm sitting at the back going, which was very amusing. But yeah, that was, I don't know, did he speak to you before or after the Thorns Council then? About editing? Yeah.
No, that wasn't until MC. We got a long way for
okay.
That.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. So he wandered over deathly towards the Thorns Council during the spiciest of spices.
The branding.
You branded him. I mean, I walked over to it, and everyone was standing like really gathered around. It wasn't like it was like a tight press. It was not a simple sort of stand and watch.
Mm-hmm.
It was really intense. I loved it. It was very, very cool.
It was so cool, and then felt bad, but it was good. It was poetic. It was lovely, and then bringing Alice back up to his feet and giving him a hug before letting Thorn's Council continue.
The coven I have confirmed is called the Envoys of the White Stag.
Ooh, that's a cool name.
Which is really cool. Yeah, I know, right?
That was really efficient of you.
Thanks.
Thanks. Smiley face react.
Trying to think where else we went with this. I think at that point I needed to go find Tadpole and Lothy, because obviously we were preparing for MC muster at that point, and we needed to get the banner there, which we hadn't put up because of all of the stuff that happened at Time In, and get anyone else who was joining us on the field tomorrow to be bonded to it. So it was a mad rush. They're in the Orc camp currently.
Wait, did you not stick around for the election?
I came back for it.
Oh, okay.
It was a big rush.
Makes sense.
So I rushed off to the Orc camp to
go
find Tadpole and Lothy, at which point I broke the news to them that Brannos had basically was terminal. And at that point, Lothy may or may not have made the deal very quickly with the Orcs to go and fight with them. Not saying anything, but
I think it was in the middle of his dealings. So he was trying to get a deal for the Orcs to pay us to Merc banner with them. There was already been agreement that we would, I think, fight with the Orcs.
Yeah, after what they did at the fort last time, and that it was a good.
It was just negotiating.
It
was negotiating the actual price.
Of different reasons for doing so, and this was just the negotiations of price, and then
And at this point, it should be clarified, of course, when you're making these decisions, no one knows what day the nations are fighting on. You can sometimes kind of guess, but there are always surprises, so you never know. Like, we could easily have still been fighting with Devar on the same day, which, spoiler alert, turned out we weren't. But yeah, definitely merking with the Orcs meant we were going to go through with the Orcs under their kind of command, or certainly alongside their command.
Handling.
Yeah.
Handling was the term.
We were unleashed
to our buyer.
They cried havoc and let loose the black scars of war.
Yeah.
And it's worth noting, we are like almost the size of the Orcs.
Oh no, we were big.
Fielding warriors. Yeah.
We were actually, I think, 1 or 2 people bigger. We more than doubled the number that went down onto the nation numbers. They had something like 24, and we were supposed to be fielding like 26, I think.
Yeah.
In the
I
end,
think we only
balanced out. Yeah.
Yeah.
I only fielded 21 or something, but still.
Which was another reason why it was a really good choice, and we kind of match up with them well. But that's later talk.
Thorn's council
chat
still.
With them two about that. They were getting the deal. Then it was quick rushing back to Thorn's council to then have the rest of Thorn's council, have the elections, side jobs of trying to get the banner ready for 8 o'clock. It was mad rush ready. So should we talk about the election?
Yeah. So I feel like Matty, you're certainly qualified to talk about this and its significance to the nation.
I mean, I certainly for some of it, but so obviously I died. Well, Larkin died last event. I know, crazy.
Wait, the bard's dead.
Larkin the general is dead. But that also means that instantly my army title comes up for re-election unexpectedly. It was up for re-election this event anyway.
Yeah, no, luckily. Don't get that confused. This was just a routine election.
Yeah, it just happened to be that I was too dead to rerun. But yeah, it was kind of crazy, and I was really torn. And I'd said before that I wouldn't actually be there, and in the end, I was like, I don't have anywhere else to be, and I can't quite stay away. So Tallis had to arrange it all and like kind of MC it, which actually should have been probably Kara's job, but and Kara and Brennis were there anyway. But they were also dealing with those things.
Yeah.
So he was facilitating what he has called electing Larkin, or electing Larkin's army, which has made me laugh a lot of times recently. But yeah, it was weird and crazy, and I won't go into too much detail. A bunch of people stood, people got voted for, and I actually, when people started voting, I couldn't watch. I was so nervous. I was like feeling slightly nauseous about it. So I went and sat down at the side, and I ended up like this lovely person next to me. I believe Navarre, but all in yellow. So I'm not 100% sure. They obviously can. I think yellow is slightly one of the colors, but I'm not sure it's on the edge, so I wasn't entirely sure. But yeah, they were so nice. I was like, "Hi, yeah, sorry, I'm fine," because they could tell I was not fine. And is there anything you could do? I was like, I'm good. I just need to like not think about what's going on. I was like, oh, I can distract you. I'll talk about look at my nice trim on my dress. It's just talking for ages like that. And then it was done. And I was like, cool, I haven't quite managed to figure out who's done. I thought at that point that it had gone to Maddock because I saw some movement of people towards people. So I was like, okay.
Yeah, it was
very
a
close.
really close one.
Yeah.
There were two very long lines, one behind Maddock and the other one behind. I didn't know at the time, but Owen Longshadow.
Yeah. There were still other people who stood who were very new to it. Yeah, Owen Longshadow is now.
Owen Longshadow.
Yeah, from drill sergeant to general.
Yeah.
So it was. I mean, it was wild. I'd kind of decided not to know because I wanted Larkin to find out fresh, and then So I sort of found out, and I was like, okay, that's fine. But then later on in MC, I sort of saw something that made me go, maybe he didn't win it, maybe someone else won it, and then I was like, I didn't realize. Unfortunately, I did then get fully spoiled later on by someone before the Whispers, and found out like who actually had, and I was like, oh well, at least there are some things that I can find out fresh, some things I can't.
Honestly, did a very decent job over the weekend.
Yeah, I've heard good things, and I managed to get him the sash, which was really good.
Yes, got him the sash.
Because all of the army stuff died with Larkin, technically. So I kept hold of it for a bit because I had to use it for my Whispers.
That's true.
I was like, I want to keep it just for the Whispers, and then I went and I gave it to him on I think I found the bag and bundled it up nicely on Saturday.
I think it was some mean competition. Definitely a tough act to follow.
I hope so. I mean, all you want from being a character is to like make an impact, right? You just want to have mattered.
And what we do in life echoes in eternity. To quote Gladiator.
It's really hard in real life to become someone that has a wide-reaching impact, like in the world. So to be able to be someone of like import and affect things and have people know who you are is a really cool feeling.
Yeah,
who wouldn't want that?
Thanks, guys. Thank you. The pressure's on.
Shattersongs are, if not ambitious. We know this now.
True. It is true.
But yeah, it was awesome. So shout out to whoever it was that was really kind and kept me company while all that was going on. And then I'm trying to think what happened next, because at this point, ladies and gentlemen and everyone else, it was 7:30.
It's 7:30.
It's an hour and a half of game time.
I ran along to MC. Lottie went and got the banner, and we were going to meet back up there for muster to declare our numbers.
Yeah. And that's when the Merc banner. Woo.
I think it was at that point, because I'd been talking to John, or Gil, sorry, John Gill. Heat is getting to me right now. Maddock, who, very cool. Also, it was really nice to actually see him on the Thursday, going a little bit further back and have a full chat. Like OC, because we really haven't caught up a lot. And it was really nice to basically just have a good
that is the benefit of Thursday, isn't it? To have a really good get that like bonding feeling of, okay, I actually kind of know you now. Like there's a little bit, you build that trust up and up and up, and then
it was really cool because it was like Larkin said so many things about you, and I can I want to also judge this for myself as Faren. Like I haven't really interacted with you much, but instantly became pretty good friends. I hope. Maddock, please don't. But while Lottie was coming up the hill, I was like, well, this is not a perfect opportunity. You already fight with us in Black Scott, or have done for the last year or so, quite often. Come and joined us, because was it that you, Larkin, was sending him our way, or did he just come join us?
I think he'd fought alongside, like, while we'd been part of the main of our block quite a lot.
There's the times on like a Sunday where we get sent a Sunday on our battle day where we get sent a few additionals, like go fight with Black Scar.
I think he'd kind of come by himself, like just automatically. And he'd been working with Clay before he worked with Larkin.
That is true. See, we don't even know the origins of this. All we know is very, very cool guy.
Too damn quiet, Gil. You just sneak in there. He knows he does it.
Yeah.
Just sneaks in, and then he's there. And we're like, oh, you were always here. It just makes sense.
Yeah, so I decided to, and I bypassed Lothy a little bit here. I decided to make that sneakiness into a reality, and basically invited him to actually join the Thornball and take the oaths later that evening. And I went, "Hi, Lothy. Sorry, I kind of just invited Maddock. I hope that's cool. Cheers, bye." But yeah, I think deservedly so.
I mean, we've had conversations in the past about if Black Scar vouch for you, you can make calls like that, and certainly there have been people that we've spoken about in the group in an IC way, sometimes an OC way, but usually in an IC way about, oh yeah, if they were interested, we'd ask them for sure.
Yeah,
and I think Maddox's always been on the list for a while.
But again, Black Scar's a weird one. It's a beautiful group of kind of people who just get on with things but all have a very similar like vibe of play. Like they enjoy a certain level of play. And
we're not here for a quiet time.
I just knocked my entire desk. I was going to say, I think that's one of the best ways to distinguish between stridings and steading groups, and like if you're looking to get into one, is to think about what you want from your weekend, because that's more of what decides like what group you'll be in than just these are my friends, or they're from the same place as I am, or they do the same thing as me, like archetype wise. It does tend to be like you can have completely different goals, but we all want to achieve them in a very similar kind of way, and we all want to have the same kind of ups and downs over a weekend and do these things together or not together. So yeah, it works out. Welcome along, Maddock.
Damn, you guys are doing something constructive. I was just looking at the list of bullet points. I was out not getting my legs broken and collecting traps. So yeah, smash cut away from the serious, let's call it good RP of trying to save the Empire from the barbarians within and without.
Again, we've only just reached 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah, just barely.
This is Linda's first time speaking at Thorns Council, and I basically go up, wing it, and say, "Hey, by the way, there's some boggarts in town. I'm setting traps, and I need some help." And I got some helpers, and we went off after that to go and essentially, for any dear listeners who haven't seen Home Alone, or indeed any kind of like solid, 10 IQ or less plans for traps, like very Tom and Jerry. The idea for these boggarts is that they're essentially very high lineaged briars, and they love forest resources like Dragonbone or Ambergelt. And the idea was to collect some of this.
With a briar.
Yeah, the idea was to collect enough of this to make a little Hansel and Gretel breadcrumb trail, and then bait it into a box or a set of shackles. And the objective for this Wind of Fortune was to get them back into the Hall of Worlds and then throw them back into the Spring Realm, so they didn't spend the rest of the year eating our forests and forest resources, which would have had a massive, massive financial impact on the Empire. We'll discover how that goes on Saturday, but at this point, yeah, first time talking in front of like 50 people for a while that wasn't a courtroom, and very much enjoyed it.
We had to specify that.
As your lawyer, I'm advising you to stay quiet on this matter, Chris.
And that's just OC courtrooms. But anyway, that was I think a lot less useful from what you lot were doing, but it had some impact on Saturday for sure. And then I popped up to the Brass Coast, and if you remember at E1, I got that weird tulpa potion.
Mm-hmm.
Finally put that on auction, and I got to sit there.
Ooh,
I absolutely love hanging out with the Brass Coast. They are very good
yeah.
at RP, and
Yes.
I think their nation brief makes all of them very active. They're always very keen to get stuff done and do things, and
Yeah.
go
There's
out on
also
a
a
limb
lot
for
less of
something.
them overall, so I think that does help the vibe of like everyone's got a lot to do.
Yeah, there a
Don't
lot of them
I
have.
hope that makes sense.
Yeah, and even despite the fact that their empire does not have a fleet anymore,
Yeah.
there's a lot of fleet and
Uh,
ship-based
Army.
roleplay of them,
Sorry,
and
Navy rather.
it's very adventurous and it's very fun. So pitching the story of, hey, this is a magical tulpa potion. It's unique, or if not unique, one of, less than 5 in the empire. Give me 10 thrones for it. And instead of paying that money, they decided to put it in an auction house, which is very cool.
Oh,
And
that's
again,
fun.
we'll
Wait,
cover
so
that
how
in
did that work?
We'll cover
Oh,
that.
is that
We'll cover the results on Saturday, but it ended up in a public auction. It wasn't
so?
the
You just
bourse
went
auction.
along to this to a freeborn place? Were you just trying to like sell it at the market kind of thing?
Yeah, I was just going around some of the camps, and there's one of them that runs an auction every
Oh,
Friday at
okay.
5 p.m. And it's basically um, the Bourse Light auction. So there's some fairly interesting stuff in there, like 10 mana crystals or a magical item. But we're not
Yeah.
talking hundreds of thrones. We're talking 1 to 10 kind of range.
Okay, so like not cheap, but not like, but semi affordable
Yeah, like I
for
think if you
a
have
mid
a
game
throne,
player kind of thing.
show up and see what you get, because you just get random stuff. There's a lot of smut. Like there's a lot of smut in there as well. And it's just yeah, because why wouldn't there be? But
Smut and cake at the moment just
it's
drives the empire.
honestly, the smart economy is actually monstrous. It's
It's
concerning.
unbelievable.
But yeah, can 10 out of 10 recommend popping along to the Brass Coast on a Friday with any weird items you've got, and then seeing if you can get them into that auction and see what you get
Mm.
for it. You can set a minimum price. So mine was 10 thrones because there's probably a couple rings of Ilium in this thing. So you could just distill it
I really
for
want
the
to talk
Ilium.
about Saturday now. I want to know if you sold it for that much.
Well, yeah,
Spoilers, citizens.
yeah, it's quite an interesting potion story actually. But no, at this point it was very much convincing the owner of this auction house that the story was legit, the potion was legit, and that there was any money to be made because the auction house takes a very fair and prosperous cut of the proceeds. So you're sat
Yeah.
there trying to really haggle out the value of this thing. And the spicy
Mhm.
part is it also goes through a militia check as well. So no, you
Oh,
can't
okay.
auction stolen goods at this particular auction, which makes me think that there must be some auctions where you can get stolen goods, or if not, perhaps
Interesting.
that's a niche for somebody else to occupy for once.
Is there
But
a time? This is a very important question. So take your time and think about it. Is there at any point during a LARP a time when you're not thinking about crime?
yes,
Good.
when I'm
I just wanted
unconscious
to
and
establish.
asleep in my tent.
I was going to say, Lindy, your ban is showing, but you know.
Yeah.
I think it's an interesting point
It was
personally.
always a Chris showing through. You know it.
I don't RP at Empire. I am just Chris. I just happen to change
Oh,
my
so
name.
you
Well,
are
your
a
biggest
criminal.
I was going to say your RP at the moment is being Linda Thornhart, the non-criminal. It's working
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, I've not committed a single crime with Linda.
That's not true.
Well, okay. There's basically about 3 hours before timeout on Sunday. I think there's
No,
an argument for that to change, but that's for episode
there are
3.
several other times I can think of
Really?
that you definitely committed a crime of some description.
Genuinely shocked.
Okay,
I am
some of it might be little crime.
96% confident that I've not committed a technical crime in the Empire as Linda
I think
Thornhart.
we're talking technicalities. He rides that line very closely.
That's yeah, and we applaud you for it.
I'm technically correct. The best kind of correct.
But yeah, I want to hear more about this auction. But that happens at Saturday 5 o'clock.
Saturday 5 o'clock, Freeborn Camp. You know just where the end of the Traders Row is? It's opposite the Apothecaries Guild. And I actually walked past on the Saturday I won't talk about it in detail, but basically there was a large crowd. So this isn't like a little auction. There's, 30, 40 people were there
Yes.
buying smut and
Predominant.
other intriguing potions and tidbits from the Empire. And it seems like some NPC stuff crops up there as well. It's basically seems to be wherever there's something with a dubious source or perhaps a uniqueness to it,
Yeah,
ends up there. Very cool.
that's really
Very
cool.
cool. Can recommend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I might have to make a trip at E3 just to have a look around.
Yeah, my next point is around about 10 o'clock. I don't know if.
No, I think we've got the rest of MC at this point.
Gotcha.
Yeah, some MC time.
Smash cut to MC.
So we've just given over the numbers of Black Scar and declared our allegiance with the orcs.
Mm-hmm.
And then a runner comes round and goes, "Are you the other Shattersong, Faren Shattersong?" And I went, "Yeah." Branos is asking for you. I go, "Okay, well, I'm not going to say no to that."
Did he really send a runner to the
Yes.
other Shattersong?
Yes, the other Shattersong. Yeah. So I then go over to him. He was on the other side of the tent, looking rough as, and he went, "You're Faren, right?" Yeah.
God, doesn't even recognise you. Sorry, I interrupted.
No, it's true. But it was, sure, I want you to be my adjutant. I went,
You could have
Okay,
been
yeah,
anybody.
yeah.
You could have been anybody, Sol. You could have not been the Shattersong. You could have been some overly keen new player who turned up and then take the opportunity to go, yeah, sure, I'm Faren Shattersong.
Yeah, but I'm Faren Shattersong. I've
He
been about.
knows who Sol is.
Been about.
He just didn't know your name.
Yeah.
And you said yes?
Of course, I was actually sort of anticipating trying to become an adjutant this weekend anyway, just to kind of start brushing up on that side of the game. But I said yes with no hesitation, no doubts. And then as he then gave me the piece of paper and said, can you write for a start, which is hilarious. And I feel like that was a stab at Tadpole.
Tadpole, 100%.
Which is hysterical. I was like, yes, of course. But I haven't got a pencil. Drafer lent me a pencil. Drafer was there. Thank you. And then I started writing. And it was at that point where I started writing down numbers and actually being a good adjutant and whatnot. Because I have spent some time in MC. I did roughly know what was going on and what I was supposed to be doing. Just wasn't anticipating to be thrown into this role quite as quickly. Was holy shit. Branos is terminal. And he's just asked me to be, and then it was the weight of that decision that I was like, oh god, well that's my weekend busy now.
You suddenly realise that what he's really asked is, hey, can you be general for the rest of the weekend?
Yeah.
Like, oh dear.
It was like, but at that point my brain was going, well, how much is rest of the weekend? Like, is he terminal tonight or tomorrow? Like, can choose at any point, right? This weekend to actually kick the bucket.
I think it's within the day.
Evening.
Yeah. I'm not sure if it's the rules that it's within the day, but I think it's you only have the rest of that day.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. And you're not allowed to do any combat or anything.
But yeah, so I was sitting there being a good old adjutant, letting that decision kind of wash over me and going, cool, in the most I'm not ready for this. Especially with Tadpole and Maddock being around. Maddock was a godsend. Was asked to be adjutant of Izella's, so was there, and I very much used his assistance. Cool, just checking I'm not going insane, but this is what we're supposed to be doing here, right? And just a great crutch to lean on for something I was heavily not anticipating. So yeah, I was in there for Buster. It was good. It was good fun. That's when it started. That's when the first votes came in, and it was me as Quiet Step. Wild.
It's a good feeling, isn't it?
It's a good feeling. Putting your hand up and being counted. Wow.
It's very cool. It's very cool.
So
So how come did Brenos just step out at that point and leave you to it?
Well, no, he kept coming back to sit down. He was still general for the rest of Buster.
Okay.
But was very much taking a step back, had a couple of comments, but obviously went to have a breather, inverted commas.
Oh, yeah.
Uh,
A classic. Oh,
and,
man.
yeah,
And then
left
it
me
was
there.
just, it all kicked off at Mustard.
And then
didn't
it kicked off because then we didn't choose to go and fight Matilda Fisher on the Saturday morning. All of the Navarre generals did vote. I, of course, voted to go that way. But it was a very close vote. I think there was only one in it, which led to the marches kicking off, and they stormed out and then started rough musicking MC while we were trying to get the final votes in.
It was
an
basically
experience. It was a riot. It was beautiful.
It was unbelievable. And now I will say there have been quite a few people that were like, that was maybe not as well handled as it could have been, because it was too long and too close, and they should have stayed probably a little bit further away and done a little bit of it, because it was apparently.
I can understand that, but also for getting their point across, it was bloody brutal.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Well, but no one was prepped for it at all, and then you could just hear them. Someone rushed around, went, "The marches are rough music. You've got about a minute."
Yeah.
And everyone starts panicking, going, "Right, we need to get some votes through. Let's go," because we wouldn't be able to have a chat at all. We wouldn't be able to hear each other, and of course we
everyone
couldn't.
wanted to get out. Apparently, they blockaded the back of the tent.
They did, yes.
Which was perhaps where it got a little bit silly.
Yeah.
Not that I would ever accuse any Marcher players of doing silly Marcher bullshit.
Silly Marcher bullshit. No, it was a huge crowd out the front, all the way along that back side, just fully rough music, shouts, riots. It was beautiful to witness.
Something special. Hearth Magic is really cool. Admittedly, like Hearth Magic and because for the Marchers, like land and opportunities to do things like that has a much bigger impact on them, which conflicts with loyalty to the Empire, and that kind of thing is what really drives all of the decision making and the RP decision making in the Empire, you know? Because it's not just what's the best option, it's what's the best option considering all of the things that I have to take into account of my Hearth Magic and nation and etc. etc. Which is why you can rough music military council for not choosing to kill a person. Woo!
We pushed the votes through. I'm not going to lie, I can't fully remember. I was too distracted by what was going on.
Well, I mean, the most important thing was that we weren't going to be fighting with Navarre, right?
That was the final thing that then got voted on. In fact, that was what we were trying to decide at the time, because there were a couple of sets that would have had us fighting with Navarre, but the one that finally went through, which was a good decision, I think, in a lot of ways, was Imperial Orcs on Sunday and Navarre on the Saturday. So Navarre were off to fight the Jotun, and we were off to kill some Druge with the Orcs. So this was the first time New Blackscar, the lot that are still around, had done this. Really, we've always fought with Navarre, so this was a really interesting change.
I've never not fought with Navarre.
Chris, have you ever done that? You might have done.
Fought against them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
I don't think,
actually.
Like in anything since the Iron Raptors days, it would have happened. Like, because Iron Raptors, I reckon, would have been the last time.
Yeah, back when PD would take random crew for skirmishes, because you used to be able to walk up to the monster tent to say, "Hey, can I just like crew a few skirmishes because I'm bored?" And they'd be like, "Yeah, sure thing." I fought against Navarre sometimes. I think I fought against Blackscar at one point by doing that. But this is years and years ago.
Yeah.
And
that when skirmishes were 40 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah. But never a main battle where you've got Navarre and then Blackscar on the other side.
And I've got so many friendly faces to shoot at on the other side.
It was really...
That's Saturday morning talk.
That is Saturday morning talk. I apologise for getting excited.
It was really cool to hear it, though, when you came in with the thing of, like, we are fighting on Sunday and Navarre on Saturday. And we're like, ooh,
something new, something interesting. Poor poor Ravadi. I'm so sorry for them. Coming up to Madik and I during the rough music at the corner of Tenko, what are we going to do? Like, realizing we've kind of lost all of our standing positions of leadership. Brenos won't be taking the field. Larkin obviously died. They go, what are we going to do? And Madik and I just look at each other and go, well, sorry, but we're actually not fighting with the VAR.
Sounds like a you
and
problem.
their face just dropped like another inch. I am so sorry.
Oh no, it was kind of so. I did know about Brenos beforehand. I'd spoken to Owen a bit about it as the decisions were being made. So every time people were talking to me about like, oh, what are we gonna? Oh, well, there's people. Oh, what are we gonna do?
And there were people.
But no one was. Yeah, but also no one was quite like. Obviously, everyone was still like, oh, well, obviously we've got Brenos still and everything will be fine.
Yeah.
And then I was just sort of waiting for that moment for everyone to realize that no, you don't. Like you don't. And there's no one like. I mean, in without tooting my own horn, Larkin was kind of being set up to follow on, right? That was the point. I see. That was the point. Is that eventually I would have been taking over from Brenos, and he could have stepped down and done other things. It's the implicit understanding.
Yeah.
And to die and then obviously know that he was going to go out, I was like, well, there hasn't really been anyone else around. There have been people on that level of like Ravadi, Anwen, I mean, Georg, people like that who have been going for a long time. Sylvan, I believe his name is Silva, even for the Navarchas, Talus.
Yep.
So there's people who are at that level of leadership within their units and have got some command experience, but there's no one who's been taught like all of the politics of it, all the mechanical side of like, right, at this time you do this and at this time you do that, and this is the information you need to get across, and that kind of stuff that I've been learning. So it was really sink or swim. I mean, it was looking dire in the sense that I think we all knew that everyone was going to panic, but then ultimately it's still a LARP. There's still a lot of other experienced people around there. There are a lot of players who are still there, even if their characters are not. It was all going to be fine, but it was fascinating. And I think it was described quite a lot as this is the Britta moment for Navarre.
Yeah.
There's people just gone. In fact, similar with the senators. Riz was no longer senator, so Gellert was in for his first term.
Yeah.
Travid was there, but then, Travid essentially being the only senior member of a nation imperial-wide title, I guess.
Yeah, he was saying this yesterday, actually, when I met Travid's OC for his birthday, and he's one of the longest-serving senators now. And when you look at the generals, he's probably one of the longest-serving hats in Navarre.
Yeah, this is the thing, right? Apart from there are other titles, so 10-year ones and stuff like that, but in terms of actual empire-wide titles, like going out and interacting and doing a lot with them, there's a lot of new blood, and that's really good and it's really cool. It means that there's not so much guidance, but how you got to learn somehow. Sink or swim, baby.
Yep.
So yeah, I remember hearing about, we're not on the same. Okay, it's crazy. And I think so there was a dog outside. I don't know if you heard that.
Yep.
Bark. It panicked too. There was like.
Sorry.
Yeah,
just like the dogs bark when they hear this podcast. Great.
Yeah. It's that high-pitched whining of like terror in my voice.
Mm.
No, it was good. So, we had. I saw people in the tent getting prepped. Later on, after we'd done the Whispers, which I believe we'll probably be talking about next.
I was gonna say, because I went straight from MC to the Regio.
Yeah, so I just to jump forward because it doesn't really need to going over later, but there was the sash when I handed it over to everyone who'd they were all in the hub, I believe, or the academy, because Dawn was on fire. Dawn was not on fire. To clarify,
you took my point. Damn it! I was looking forward to that.
Oh, sorry. Well, you can talk about it later, but I've heard what actually happened from God at this point.
Yeah, it's not. I was in the God tent when someone ran in. It's like, Dawn's on fire, and I'm sat there counting out herbs for a potion, and I'm like, oh, this is more interesting. Hello.
Yeah, we were talking about it with the refs on the Saturday morning. Do you want to know exactly what happened? Or do you want it to be a mystery forever?
I mean, there was a small fire in a tent. There was a gas canister involved, but like someone had rolled it out the way, and it was actually very minor in the end.
Okay, almost. There was no fire.
Even better.
Someone saw. Well, there
There
was
was
a
just a
camp, like a
sick
normal
burn near a
campfire.
campfire.
There was a normal campfire, and someone had there was a propane canister that had rolled towards it, and someone had instantly pulled it out the way, and then they had gone and put it into the center of the glory square and evacuated everyone because there was a fire marshal, someone who was OC, a fire marshal, and that was basically it. And everything was fine in the end. The only problem was someone got a little slightly scorched hands trying to yanking it out the fire. But they did the right thing. They made a cordon and everything, and got it as far away from all the other tents as possible by putting it in the center of the glory square. So yeah, that was it. But it was quite funny to walk down and have people be like, "Dawn's on fire! Dawn's on fire! You can't go there." I'll be like, "What? What is
it was
happening?"
very dramatic. The freeborn who ran in had clearly run from Dawn, and as we know from Saturday, that is not a short run at top speed.
Yes.
And I was like, "Oh, Dawn's on fire! Dawn's on!" They didn't sound like this, but this is my dramatic retelling. Dawn's on fire! And then they just slumped down in a chair and they upended their water canteen on themselves because, despite this, I think it's approaching darkness or at least evening. Yeah, it's still pretty damn hot.
Dusk at that point.
Dusk, thank you.
Sunsetty, I think. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
that's it.
later on, I gave the sash to, and I saw that Eden, who plays Anwin, and Becca, who plays Rivadi, they were both sitting, talking to the field marshal and all of that. And I was like, they will figure it out. They will be fine. And also, Larkinstead, I'm still kind of here if there's any OC advice that's needed tomorrow morning. Same with Owen, same with Kit, same with lots of people. So it was from an IC perspective, it was dire. From an OC perspective, it was very manageable and exciting too. So there you go. And then it was Whispers time.
And it was Whispers. So with the march rough music still going on, I then rush across. I have 15 minutes or so till I got a warning at 15 minutes. So it was a quick vote and go. And unfortunately, we didn't manage to, there was no way of announcing to MC that it was happening because of the rough music. So that was another side effect of that. So we only kind of managed to tell the people we kind of knew were definitely coming.
Yeah, because there were a few people later that were like, "Why didn't you tell us that it was happening?" Which was a bit of a shame, but these things.
Blame the marchers.
These things do happen. So I obviously left. I didn't stay in MC for the whole muster. I think I went for a wander. I know. I went for a wander with Tadpole, which was very funny because I've known Tadpole for a long time, OC and IC now. And obviously Tadpole and Larkin were actually engaged, which
I still haven't told
kind
them.
of. Spoiler fun. I love it. But yes, that would shortly have ended, I believe.
I'm waiting for the most prime dramatic opportunity to do so.
Do it. So yeah, that was, we went for a walk and I got to play around a bit by getting to know Isa. It's always nice to interact with people you already know as a new character and play off them. We have a lot of really good role players in Black Scar, and I know a lot of really good role players across the field, so it was nice to talk and meet other people. Said hi to Asnath, said hi to some of the Freeborn, that kind of thing. Wandered around. But then about, I want to say 20 past 9, so I believe, or no, 20 to 9 or something. We were told to be there. I was told to be there half an hour before. So I was told the time is 10. Should be there half an hour before. So I was like, okay, I'll get there for 9:30. So I headed back to tent. I had all my kit that I had died in. I got partially kitted up. I did my face tattoos and everything, put my hair on. I was slowly descending into more and more moody depressiveness of oh god, I'm dead. This is not feeling nice to be back in the thing because I miss it. Not because I don't want to do it, but I was getting into that headspace without even really realizing. And then wandered down with a scarf over my face managed to find out where I was supposed to be, got the rest of my stuff on, like my chainmail and all that, and just had to sit and wait and hang out. And I was getting more and more nervous, and it was really good in terms of getting into the right headspace. It felt like
you're wandering an ever long labyrinth.
Yeah, it did. It was really weird. I was obviously very OC because I had to sit with the refs and things, and then wait to hear, and then I heard everyone turn up because I heard Clay and Finn, Chris and Finn came into the tent to be like, "Hey, we're here for this ritual," and I was like, "Yeah, I'm here, by the way." So everyone kind of confirmed that, and I was like, "Cool." Some other people went before me. I was just sitting there like, try and remember what you were going to say, but also there's not really any way to overly prep. That. You know? And that was sort of the point, I think.
I am sure I would have been nervous as hell, being, prepped for what this is going to be, but I didn't have time. I rushed over. So it was like, cool. Bond me to the coven, let's go. Let's do this.
Oh, you did? So you hadn't even bonded yet?
Not at that point.
Oh my god. Oh, that's so Black Scar, though.
So we had to go. Well, I didn't have time because I was stuck in MC, so I couldn't go back out.
Yeah, that's fair.
So it was rush over. Hi there, welcome to
welcome to Whisper Time.
Whisper Time, Secret of the Wildwoods.
Yeah. So what did you guys had to do? Like, because you'd obviously prepped the mana and Liao and all that.
We had them. I had my mana and Liao, but they weren't used. So clearly someone else had sorted that. I'm going to guess Corwin. Let's face it.
Probably, yeah.
The ritualists were Corwin, Gwilym, Rifflin, Clay, and Faren. So Faren, if you're not aware, was not a mage until this event.
He hastily learned one magic.
Yeah, I hastily learned one winter magic and mastered Whispers Through the Black Gate in order to perform said ritual.
Which
was a character decision.
Yeah.
Given the fact I had no idea what had happened to Larkin, and it would be the only way that I would ever be able to talk to her at least one last time.
Yeah. And a lot of people were with you, man.
Yeah.
It was a crowd out there. Like, I think pretty much all of Black Scar were there.
Yeah. And a bunch of...
But it looked like more other people than that. I know that there were some of the MC crew, which was really, really cool.
There was MC crew. There were just some people from Navarre and people from, across Anvil who are also were probably just waiting around going, what's this crowd here?
What's going on here?
So yeah, and then it's like we're up. So we all go into the center. We're letting Rifflin's taking charge. I mean, he's the one that's organized all of this.
Oh, it was cool. You had drums, I think?
No, drums begin, and he begins the chanting.
Amazing ritual.
We have a bowl at this point filled with like half a liter of fake blood.
Delicious fake blood.
And a heart.
It looked awesome. I remember Rifflin was making it while I was like running out of camp.
Yeah. We begin to play the drums and start the chanting, and it's all about, let our blood flow so that she can smell the blood and be drawn to us. Fucking God. Awesome.
Metal. Yeah. So cool.
I
could only hear a little bit of what was going on. But from inside the tent, they were like, right, you have to wait until you hear your name so that they know that they've called you. And also it has to be 2 minutes of role playing. And I was like, oh, I hear my name. I can't tell how long it's been going on for. I was like, they just wait a little bit longer. I was like, I've heard my name like 3 times now. I don't know how long it's been going on for.
I'm being called.
I'm just gonna go.
Smell the blood.
The blood.
And then you just appear out of nowhere. And I think this is genuinely down to the lights and the lighting of the Reggio at this time of night. You literally just seem to appear in front.
I mean, that is really cool because I thought we were supposed to... No, we were going second, right? That was always the agreement, was to go second. And obviously it's at sunset. They're supposed to be during sunset, but it meant that it was pretty dark by the time it got to us, which worked really well. Oh my
And
God.
yeah, you just appeared, and then we continued going because we're not sure and you're not sure.
Yeah.
But that everyone had
Yeah.
kind of like decided that we couldn't see you quite yet.
Oh, it was perfect. It was one of those really in sync moments of I had stepped out and I was like, oh, they're not finished, but I'm out now. And also I'd like made eye contact, but like half the people weren't really reacting to me, and I was like, okay, right, cool. I'm here but not here.
Yeah.
I hope they don't stop. And I was just sort of like started to walk around, like looking around, trying to figure out where I was, trying to like pretend to talk to people for a bit and like watch what was going on and like visibly slowly figure out what was happening.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm in my head, I'm going, keep going. This is really cool. Keep going. Like, don't stop early. I want you to have your full ritual. Like, please do the whole thing. It's awesome. So it was really, really cool. Oh man, because I stood right next to Finn, and at no point did Rifflin react to me. It was awesome. And sometimes I got faces.
At some point, I think we then decided that we could see you, and it was like, oh my God, Larkin, hello.
And I was like,
oh, we just all quickly like, I think it was Clay go around dipping hand in blood and then on the face, so we just all had blood dripping.
Oh, there was so much blood, and it was awesome.
So much blood.
Absolutely awesome. Oh my God, it was just so. It was so cool. I don't know that any of us really could have expected it to be like what it was.
No, I didn't.
It felt like there wasn't enough time, but at the same time, like I managed to get a lot done and said.
Yep.
So I was pleased with that. I don't
was...
even know. Oh my God.
It was beautiful.
Did you? You were there watching, Chris, presumably.
Yeah, so I saw the point where you stepped in. You kind of just joined a circle. They're just staring at them. They, like you said already, they just kind of ignored you for a bit. And that was pretty cool.
Weird.
And then there was I can't remember it. I don't think
I do have a question for both of you, which is how was the costuming? Because I actually wasn't sure.
Your hair looked different. Like very different all of a sudden. I was like, I wasn't sure if you had like, obviously you can't temp dye it.
Different from Larkin or different from
me?
From
Isa. Different from Isa.
Very different.
Good. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I looked like Larkin again.
Yeah, you looked distinctly different in the face.
So confusing and probably made it all so much worse.
It's like, good. Because I wanted to put all of the kit back on as it was, and And I did the face paint, and I did the hair and everything, and I was like, cool. This feels like this is exactly how it was when I died. I was really glad that I actually hadn't put any war paint on for that battle, because then I didn't have to recreate the war paint.
That's true.
But obviously, you never know quite how impactful it's going to be from the outside.
Yeah, and
very
then
impactful.
I don't think we could do it justice talking it through, but just like some small points. It was
There was crying.
There was a lot of crying. I really enjoyed the dealing with the quirks of the ritual being that only the 5 of us can see you and talk to you. And that whole
this confused me, because I'm pretty sure that the ritual allows anyone to see and hear the ghost that's been summoned, but I can only see and hear you guys.
Yeah.
So like anything I said could have been heard by the whole crowd.
But if you want to respond.
But then, but if they say anything, I can't hear it unless you tell me.
Yeah.
There was a couple of things you did
there was
say.
some...
You called into the crowd.
Oh, man. I was like, okay, Larkin knows what a whispers is. Like, Larkin's figured this out. I've been whispered. I know I'm dead. That's part of it. When you're whispered, you know you've died. And also, like, in terms of what I've gone through. Well, also, I was like, okay, the way that Larkin died, I knew I was dying. I knew it was the end. That was half of the awfulness of it. Like, I knew that was going to be it. So there was a good solid, 3 minutes where she knew she was dying. And like, so of course, if the next thing you know is that you are randomly in a weird place where you can only see a couple of people chanting, you probably figure out what's going on. She wasn't stupid. So, but it was like cathartic, but not, because half the whole our like fallout of this for me has been how absolutely unfair it has always felt from an IC perspective, but also kind of OC. Like, it's just like you never want to lose a character, but I was so not ready.
It's never a good time to take a tragedy, is there?
No, and it you know, it's good story, absolutely, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't suck at the same time.
Oh yeah.
So there was a lot of times when I was just walking around crying and like saying things because Matthew was just like, it's not fair. It's not fair. It was too soon. I think I said that quite a lot.
The constant calls of you asking us, is Brenos there? And like, no, he's coming. No, he's coming.
Yeah, I was like,
he'll be
why?
fine. Oh, yeah, we were all chatting at the sidelines of like, do we tell her? Do we just not tell her about Brenos?
Oh,
man.
Yeah.
I'll tell.
And
then Travid wasn't there, and I promised that I would do a little joke for Travid, so I did.
Apparently, he had a single tear in Senate and got to be grumpy
because he wasn't there, and because of the way that the ritual works meant that you don't know he's not there. So he told me if he wasn't there, just do something funny, like go Travid, shut up, stop. Yeah. He doesn't want to hear. Stop with the crying.
The thing is, you said
everyone
that, I think,
fully well aware on a
2 minutes.
Level.
Well, 2 minutes after you had actually said Travid can't be here.
Yeah.
So I was like, lol.
Yeah.
Like cry laughing at the same time. Oh man, it was heartfelt. It was crushing. It was awesome.
Sweat.
It was
sun
impressive.
Cream, war paint, and then fake blood.
Lots of blood.
And then tears on top of that dripping down my face. Like that was an absolute mess.
It was all I could have asked for, really. I mean, the way that you guys did the ritual was so cool. Like, the group of you that did it was really, really cool as well. Like, it was such a nice little mix.
Yep.
You did a fantastic job. It was taken really seriously, but also it wasn't just...
Oh, it was Black Scar taking this seriously.
Melodrama, you know? Yeah. It was like, it felt like real serious, not like... we're trying to be serious because we want to be like, oh, what's happening?
Yeah, it was serious in the middle. We're having a little chuckle on the outside, and then Faren started crying and yelling, and then we all shut up.
Yeah. Yeah, it was one of those where it's like, it's funny, but also we're well aware that this is death. This is the end.
Yep.
Oh, man. I got to say a few things. I should say all opinions shared by Larkin are the opinion of the character and not necessarily the player.
Well, I see opinions and nothing but, because I see opinions and now dead.
Yeah, oh man, it was so good. I'd deliberately misled you all on a slightly OC note with some of the things that I had mentioned about the circumstances of Larkin's death.
Yeah, some lovely...
In order to just... drop that one bomb that I won't mention on this.
Yeah, Rizart, you're getting a strongly worded letter.
Oh man, it was so much fun. I hadn't warned him either because I was like,
no, he doesn't know yet. He still doesn't. Yeah.
Well, he does now. I OC he knows. So I was like, I think you need to know just in case this becomes all of your E3.
By the way, there's a letter on its way to you explaining the stuff.
Oh, it was good. I mean, knowing that my friends were there, like Larkin's friends. Oh.
And on that
the chat with Azaneth, the chat with Brenos, and then I was like, I was half expecting him to die at my whispers, genuinely.
He might have done. I think it would have been so Brenos of him to just die.
It would have been. But yeah, it was good fun.
I only said on that bombshell because it was a bit of a bombshell. However, the evening was not over.
Nope.
Oh God,
no, it's not Snifferson.
Oh my God.
So for us, certainly for me, from the whispers, I went back. I sat in the tent. I walked back behind Black Scar. They didn't realize. I actually walked through them at one point. They didn't realize. And then I walked into the tent and I started slowly taking my Larkin kit off. And I just sat there and I cried for a while.
No.
Yeah.
And Bless Soul walked in and was like, hi. And I was like, hi. Yeah. Like everyone outside is like laughing. I was just sitting in a tent quietly crying. But you know, it was needed at that moment.
So we then just had a sit down and a hug and a bit of a cry to
and from there I went to songs and stories, and there was more crying, but we'll get to that slightly later.
Yeah, so we're on cry number 2.
Yeah, this is about 10:30, I want to say. Maybe
Please.
Even 11.
One swift thing. It's actually technically before Whispers, and I forgot to mention it. I forgot until now, but it's relevant. Very fucking relevant for Saturday and Sunday. Gwen, Splinter Spear, played by Alison, asks me to bodyguard for Gwen at a mysterious meeting on Saturday afternoon at 4 p.m.
Ooh.
That's all I'll say.
Ooh.
Carry on.
One other thing, Chris, that I don't actually, you kind of hinted at, but we haven't brought up. You kept offering everyone to smell a flower.
So this is like a good 2-hour stretch. Sniffisons is a fantastic story. It takes us right up to timeout. It makes us a lot of friends, and there's a shock, twist, and reveal towards the end of it as well. So I don't know if you want to talk a little bit more about your stuff. If we've got Songs and Stories and Death of Brenos happens before, well, it happens during Sniffisons.
I think the Songs and Stories bit, because we only got there really towards the end. As I think you and I maybe went and got some food.
Yeah, that's exactly what we did. I haven't eaten yet.
Yes, okay, it was straight after Whispers, because you went eating, and because we were all dressed in hoods and shit, we decided to enact Operation Sniff the Flower. Alright, so what's the best way to describe this?
Yeah, because you walked into camp with it, I think, as we were on our way out.
Oh yeah.
And then we just left you to it.
So, dear citizens listening in at home, or on public transport, or in your car, or in other mode of transport, which is not your home, or indeed for those of you in cars that are homes for you, all of you, I think would have been a shorter way to express that sentiment. Anyway, so basically there's this thing called the Spring Realm, and the Empire's erstwhile mages decided to cast, it was not Rampant Growth, it's something of the Green World. It's at the bottom of the spring rituals on a wiki. I know where it is, I just don't know what. Basically, it's an Empire.
Hollow of the Green World.
Okay, I could check, but I'm like halfway through a bit, and I'm far too lazy to check and verify what I'm about to say. So everything, just put an asterisk next to the transcript of this episode, like it's fine. So basically, Spring Realm, the Empire does a ritual that boosts.
It is Hallow of the Green World.
Hey, nice, good, close enough. The Empire does Hallow of the Green World, asterisk, that boosts all the herb gardens in the Empire, but in typical forest fashion, because I'm going to be blunt here, forest is the best resource now, okay? Like, all the fun stuff is happening with forests, and forests have a lot of rituals attached to them that allow them to do other things like military unit shenanigans, boosting fleets.
Why they seem to keep convincing people to change onto things like forests.
Yeah, it's almost like they're pushing people away from military units. But anyway, despite this big empire-wide ritual it's meant to target herb gardens, it created an opportunity for forest owners. And one of those things were the boggarts that we briefly mentioned. We'll go into more detail next time. The other thing was all the forest owners in the Empire got magical flowers. And these flowers had a role-playing effect. And I've told everybody for a ring, so I guess you lot can all have it for free. But basically, the role-playing effect on this literal magical flower was that you have profound, happy memories of your childhood.
It's really sweet.
It's so
You didn't
wholesome.
tell me for a ring. You told me.
Well, because you're Faren Shattersong. You're the other Shattersong.
I was going to say, all you told me was to sniff this flower, and Isa, not knowing who you were, was like, okay then.
Yeah, and see, because Linda is trustworthy, okay, and he didn't screw you over.
You told me up front what it did, and Faren did not want any of that.
Yeah, that was sad. That was when Faren was going through the sad phase of the weekend.
The big sads.
Didn't really end. Didn't end.
Never has ended, really.
No. So anyway, with the flower in hand post Whispers, I go down with the merry band of chuckle fucks that I will refer to as the goons. Because Linda is a good person, but he still has a gang of goons because Chris is playing him. So we end up on the bottom of Murder Alley with our hoods up in the dark, and basically would ambush anybody who would walk into Murder Alley, and we'd block the road and surround them and go, "You want to feel good for a ring?" And we deliberately say it in like a weird voice, and with our hoods up and everything, and like, "Sniff my flower, you'll have a good time." That kind of shit, just to see how people would react. And as you probably can expect, a lot of people were not buying. In fact, one league fellow came into the forest and went, "Hey, citizen, feel good for a ring?" And he literally skidded to a stop and just turned around and left. Not a
Oh
word, not a
no.
word of no thank you, which most people did, or just walk by us and ignore us. No, he turned tail and ran, like out of the forest. It was fantastic, and we were having a great time because some people, they might not be the wise citizens of the empire, but some people listened to us, and they actually gave us the chance to pitch the flower. And what we usually said is that you can sniff it for a ring, it'll make you feel good. But we're so confident you'll enjoy it that you could sniff it for free, and then if it's worth it, pay us the ring. And that second part really got a lot of people because it was, no risk. Apart from potentially something bad happening to them with a load of hooded hooded bald men on Murder Alley after dark. So
Oh my
and
god.
of course the role playing effect is very wholesome, and the whole shit post behind this activity and dicking around for the evening was just to like subvert expectations, and it felt very very it was very fun to do. We got, I'd say, about 60 people in the end. And what we did is we spent a lot of time in Murder Alley, but then we came out onto the main path and then made our way up towards the orcs, which is relevant for the point I'm going to make at the end of this. But a couple of highlights. The first was that one customer joined us. He enjoyed it so much he became like a hype guy. It was
Oh
actually
really?
another leaguer. Yeah, became like our hype gang. And it's like, yeah,
Oh
you gotta
man.
try this. This is so fucking good. You're gonna have a great time. I didn't trust these guys. I've had a sniff and I'm doing great. And of course, because they're having,
That's what you need though.
yeah, they're in a state of semi-euphoria because they're reliving their happy childhood memories. Everyone else assumes that we're on some kind of, narcotic. So they're they're really avoiding us. Um, the second one is some Dornish who come through. They come from the market, the Navarre market end of things. Come down. We hassle them. They say no, and then because we actually have about a minute conversation, they just go no, 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 and walk off. And I thought that was very rude. And so I decided to come out of the forest, chasing them, like sniff my flower as a little bit of a joke. And this is when it really fucking kicked off because imagine you're a Dornish citizen, right? And you've just been accosted in the woods. You walk off, and then you hear a thundering of feet as they start to pursue you, waving their flower in the air in the darkness with their hoods up. So this Dornish,
How did
Dornish,
you not get stabbed?
not seriously, not a clue, and also not a single militia officer,
Unbelievable.
not a single militia report, absolutely none.
Yeah, but I mean, arguably, you weren't actually doing a
I
crime.
know, but like we
So-
were begging for it. We were begging for it. We were just like, there's four creepy guys with hoods ambushing people in Murder Alley for like 2 hours. Not a single militia nose was stuck into that. Not a single one. Admittedly, maybe not a single person thought to actually investigate it.
I
But
was also gonna say, if I was a militia person, I'd leave that one alone. I think
to say
if it was
squad
a
down and
Friday
clear it up.
night, I'd be like, Murder Alley, weird flower, guys with hoods. Nah, I'm all right. I'm all right.
Great bullet points right there. That really does sum it up. So yeah, anyway, this Dornish knight, and their friends draw swords, but they also start to run because, darkness and fear is the Navari tactic of choice. So they start to run towards the hub, and we're running after them screaming, "Sniff the flower, come back here, you bastards." So they're like, thundering away, and we are making ground because we're basically wearing cloth, and they're in armor and stuff still. Looks very cool, but they're fleeing. And at one point they realise we've got them by the toilets of all places, and they turn around, and this league-esque Bravo fight is about to kick off. So I'm sat there with my knife because they've drawn, so I've drawn. The goons who shall remain, you know who you are,
Which
but
is
they shall
just the right thing
remain
to do, really.
nameless. The goons have drawn weapons, but then our hype gang from the league has gone, "Don't worry, we're not armed, we're not armed." And I'm stood next to him, and I've got a knife in my hand. I'm like, aren't we? Just genuinely confused, looking at him like, no, we are armed. And
No, we're
then,
definitely armed.
yeah, so there's a standoff, and the Dornish Knight's got a long sword, and I've got a butter knife, and I'm not liking my chances. And then it goes even weirder as Ravadi, champion of vigilance, saunters into the middle of the fight. The Dornish assume that they're part of like us and back off a little bit.
Oh my god.
Ravadi sniffs the flower and then just waltzes off happy as a bee because Ravadi knows what it does. and,
Oh,
and at this point we're like, see, it's a good flower. And then they break and run again, and we don't chase him. But that was a lot of fun. The tension, the sheer fucking tension there. It was about to turn into a Maskaz event, and there was like 50 witnesses, and it was good. It was basically a hooded bunch of Navarre cornering some Dornish by the toilets. Very fun. And then finally, it takes us a solid hour to get from the bottom of Murder Alley back up to the entrance to the Navari Forest. Just that uphill bit, because we keep offering people to sniff the flower. We make a lot of friends, like a lot of friends. There's this one particular High Guard priest who comes along who's very dour, like very, definition of dour in a dictionary, this guy's face. And then, against perhaps his better judgment, he goes for it. And then what I would do is I'd pull people to one side, and a bit like a ref would go and say, "You're now under a role-playing effect. You have profoundly happy memories, blah blah blah." And we step back in, and he was just smiling, and it was clearly an OC smile. He was just like, "You have subverted my expectations, and this has been delightful." So he was very happy. We made some friends in the bar that was doing a very cool dice and maths-based gambling game. Was pretty cool. But there was one sour side to the story, and this is the point I alluded to earlier that will conclude this story, is that the Imperial Orcs are not cool. They are not. They are officially uncool, right? Because not a single one, apart from one who was camping with a Navarre group who kind of got to see what it did first, not a single one sniffed the flower. Not a single one. They were so lame. They were intimidated by
that's
us.
kind of the same for the Dornish, right?
Yeah, but other Dornish was snorting that thing like it was bite. Like, we had
if one orc does, then you can't say it of all orcs. Say, not all orcs.
Not all orcs, but literally 99% of sampled orcs are officially uncool. And yeah, it was actually quite. I think that's OC a testament to them following their brief. But I see Lindia was distraught because he wanted to bring joy and happiness to the field, and the orcs were not biting.
What's the timeline on things? How old's an orc? Maybe they just don't have any happy.
So I'd say to people, it'll fabricate them, or you'll remember other people's memories. I don't think that was technically part of it, but I was just like, because so many people were like, oh, I didn't have a childhood because my parents are dead, and I was like, ugh, lame, dead parent backstory. Let's retcon this.
Look, you assumed that was the case with Faren. Faren's parents were long living.
Oh no, I just thought Faren was deliberately being sad because Faren wanted to feel sadness. And I was like, wow, yeah, I know that feeling, buddy. Yeah. See you later. Linda smiles outside, but inside dark things have happened. And he understands what Faren is going through all too well. But anyway.
It just needs to feel something sometimes,
Yeah, yeah, like pain, agony, and grief. Those
it counts.
Yeah.
Hunger.
Yeah, hunger indeed. But yeah, there is another shock twist, but I shall only reveal it in the Sunday episode about the flower.
Okay.
If not was all as it seemed with this particular flower.
So I think for Isa and Faren, we went to get some food, and then we popped back and saw that Songs and Stories was happening, and saw that Brannos was there, and went, let's stick around. Let's watch some Songs and Stories. It's been so long. I haven't had the time in the past to actually experience it for a bit.
Yeah.
And it was nice. It was a nice, change of pace from the rest of the evening. To kind of sit and enjoy some songs and some stories.
It was really lovely. Yeah. It was a nice warm evening as well because it had been so hot that it meant that it was quite nice to go and sit around and just wander and not be, fleeing to the warmth of a fire kind of thing, which was very, very nice. So we sat and we listened. eventually we realized the imminently dead Brenos was on the other side. And so we thought, he'd probably die soon, basically. So maybe we'll stick around and watch. And it was nice. It was nice. It was actually really good. Some of it was... No, actually, I would say all the performances and things that we heard were really good. I remember the one about the egregore that he didn't end the story.
Yep.
That was brilliant. That was amazing. I was very frustrated in the best way. There was a very good song by the IC and OC sister of our beloved Rifflin.
Yeah.
Who is a Wintermarker. I believe they're Scops in Wintermark.
Believe so, yes.
Who did a very good...
Prick my thorn.
Prick my thorn. No.
Prickathorn.
Prick my bush.
Prick
like
my
a
bush.
thorn. Yeah.
Like a
which
thorn.
got firmly stuck in my head for the rest of the week, I should say. Every time. And was a very, very amazing performance. There was some beautiful singing. God, it is a good time. It's really nice. But we were really only there for like the last half hour or so.
Last half hour, but
maybe
we've been
hour
through a
maximum.
lot, so it was nice. And then
it was at that point more of a Sol and Matty are having just to listen to some music.
Yep.
I would say for a bit until
Brenos puts in a request.
Well, first of all, he did his speech.
Yeah.
God, the speech was good. If you weren't there, I won't cliff notes it because I don't think that anything could do it justice. But it was a good speech. No, it was so good coming from Brenos, and I don't think it should ever come from anyone else. It was just a very good speech. And my God, like Dead Larkin was just sitting there like, I want to reply to everything, but I can't. Yep. But there you go. It was a very good speech, and he sat down again. We went over and checked, and he said, "Are you going to die soon, just in case we want to leave?" And he was like, "Yeah, be soon. Don't worry."
So we'll stick around.
So we hung around. Yeah, sat down. He requested the "Death to the Jotun" song. Incredible. And then passed away.
And then kicked the bucket. At which point, it was the third cry of the evening.
It was intense. It was really intense. Everyone was like, it's just happened. And then
Clay joining the voice to Brackensong, sorry, to do the ritual.
Voice of the Quiet Forest it was. That's the coven.
Yeah, and the bunch of Brackensong are around.
To turn the circle.
To then turn the circle.
Idwin was very, very sad. They sang him out. Oh man.
Yeah, it was big. Great photos of it as well. And it was just nice. I hadn't done that in a long while.
I think I pushed you forwards. I was like, if he dies, you should go forwards because you just inherited his army.
Basically, yeah. And then we took him over to the Corpse Glade, leaving Songs and Story to continue. Did the final bits.
Yeah.
And then
disappeared. And then three of us. It was Clay, Sol. Well, really at this point, it was Faren, Sol, Chris. Man, I can't get the names right at all. It was Sol, Chris, and Matty.
Different
Chris. Clay.
Chris.
Different Chris.
Yeah.
Because we all went to the. They carried him off. And he disappeared. His body, quote unquote, disappeared. And then we went to Corpse Glade. And we just sat down. I sat down on the ground, and you guys joined me. And I had another good cry and lots of hugs, and it was sitting in the dark on the ground in the Corpse Glade.
It was at that point that Brenos had given Clay Clay had got the General Sash for the Quiet Step, and he placed it upon my shoulders and went, "Well, this is you better take an oath for this, Faren. You're it for the rest of the weekend."
It was a big one.
That was big. And there we go. 4 out of 4. That's the full cries.
Yeah. There was a lot of crying on that. Oh, man.
There's a lot of reasons why Quiet Step was even more poetical for Faren. So it was even bigger.
Yeah.
It was just great. I had a great Friday.
And for those of you
we
at
were
home,
exhausted, but oh man,
if you've at home, if you've been time stamping all the times that Sol cried and got it correct, submit it to winner at shattersongdiaries.co.uk, and we'll send you your unique Faren crying GIF free of charge.
You can have the Dead Larkin
GIF.
Yeah.
Not GIF.
It's a good one of
emoji.
those. Yeah.
If you subscribe to our Patreon, you can have all three of us killing each other.
It was
As a unique
just
gift.
a heavily emotional event, and then it already
was.
had like.
Once you
Because it already
start, you're in
started,
the moment,
it's just easy to keep going.
And like, I mean, I sat and had a cry after I walked out into the tent for the Whispers before I got back to camp, the Regio tent. But I was talking to someone there. They were like, and this is the same after Larkin died, and this is probably, I'm gonna guess it's the same for you guys. You kind of want that.
Oh,
right?
I want this 100%.
Like you want that
these are
big
real
emotion.
Good tears.
Exactly. It's like it feels awful, but it's a game, and so there's something kind of like watching a sad movie about being in the moment and just like experiencing that weight of stuff. And then also in the back of your head, knowing that at any point you can choose not to, but right now you are so in the moment in your character.
It's props to the people that make this game special. It's props to the game itself for being so immersive that you can actually have these feelings about something that, for all intents and purposes, isn't real. Like,
Well, until Band's death, I hadn't really come across that as like
neither had I.
People cry at like this stuff, and then after this, I'm like, people cry.
Well, Ban hit me, and I wasn't even there. That was kind of like a sad one. I didn't get to experience that icy, other than like the grief. OC.
God. And then it was timeout. We were at the standing circle.
Timeout. I was covered in blood, covered in sweat, sun cream, tears, all of the above. I don't know.
Got to touch base with some friends, which was
the
nice.
Sash around my neck, going, "Oh my god, what an event!" And it's only Friday.
Yeah, and that.
I think we did it, Chris. I think we made it.
I think we did it. It's taken us 2 hours, but
at this point, it's 1 a.m.
Yeah.
So the first hour of this podcast covered the first hour of time in, and the second hour and a bit has covered all of the rest.
And I mean, and what an undertaking that would be, but an hour by hour analysis of LARP. But real-time analysis, having like a mic on your shirt, just muttering into it. 6:59, started crying again.
Oh, it's crazy. It's tough and crazy and wild and good.
And there's the worst thing is, I know there's so much more to this event now.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about what we've covered and gone, hang on.
Yeah.
There's so much fun to come.
It's like a quarter of it, basically. So keep listening for next time.
Yeah. I think my final point after timeout is this is directly because of you two. This is your problem. You alluded to it earlier with Ravadi. The jaw-dropping section. After timeout, I had a long chat. I had a little chat with Owen, and that was cool. So I've never really chatted to Owen. I see much, but just cool character, cool game, handshake, goodbye. But then came the chatting to Eden as well. So plays Anwin. So Eden is an extraordinarily capable person, but in this, just like you, Sol, in the space of basically 6 hours, you've been propelled to leadership at a quiet step. Suddenly, Anwin is in this position where Anwin is taking the field and leading Navarre for it as well.
Yeah, and I couldn't think of anyone better.
Yeah, very true. But we'll leave that for Saturday. But I think that my key takeaway for the end of Friday is, I made about 3 crowns selling ring sniffs of a flower. Didn't die in the Atherton, which was great.
Yeah.
And I'll talk about it in detail next time. But I got to shoot at people I like on Saturday with a bow.
So Friday, an ending and a beginning.
Indeed.
In so many ways.
Did I mention I cried a bit?
That was the secret 5th stamp you were all looking for. Congratulations, you get one of Ban's 7 fingers in the mail! Just text Song to 069069. Calls costs your standard network rate. And you'll get a 7th finger in the post.
No,
See you
do
next
it.
time, citizens.
Have the emotional trauma, people. It's well worth it.
Yeah, I really hope someone
Make
listens to
friends
this.
with dead people.
Make friends with dead people.
Yeah.
What?
I wonder if someone's gonna
Faren's
text
not
that.
long for this world. Just care for him for a second. That's it.
Now we play a
Dude.
mind
Right.
game. Was that real? Will someone text
What?
069 with Dead song and see if they get something in the mail? I guess we'll
Chris,
find out.
if you were a listener, then yes. But fortunately, you're the one giving
You're the one hosting.
podcast. So
We'll see. We'll see. I have some Googling to do now. All right, cool. That wraps up Friday. I guess we have a lot more to go. My God, we do.
let's hope
4 pages.
we do it soon. Let's hope it's not a longest path.
Right. stop.
Yeah,
Yeah.
text in to make this be
Text
sooner.
in. You
Yeah.
text in now. We'll give you in
Facts
another
of the number.
2 episodes
069
free.
069. 20
Post,
pence will get
post
you
to
early
the
access.
PO box.
We'll even throw in a flower sniff.
You must be over
Like and
18.
subscribe. Like and subscribe.
And my Patreon link is below. God,
Oh god.
can't wait to shell out. It's just, yeah.
Honestly,
Anyway,
if you've made it this far, I'm impressed that people listen to this.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's the great thing about
we
these
appreciate
podcast episodes, is that at the end, listeners get a bonus for listening in this long, and it's abuse
Yeah.
directed at you.
It's
You
direct
specifically.
abuse.
Look in the mirror.
Yeah.
You're a piece of shit.
I'll be
Cut
honest,
the
guys.
grass, people.
You can
My
close
god.
the podcast at this point. Like, it's totally fine. It's absolutely okay.
We
This is
make
your
it go on
friend
for an
out.
additional 5 more minutes
Yeah, but
than it needed to. We ended it 4 minutes ago.
you're 2
But
hours.
No,
You're 2
do
hours
it.
in. But how
Make
much
it be
longer can you
done.
handle it?
Oh my god.
Close the
I
podcast.
need to go.
Stop.